morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and have roll call, please.
Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mrs. Harold. Here. Mr. Irons.
Here.
Mrs. Levere Wright.
Here.
Mr. Wright.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone tonight and remind everyone that we go by our social contract when we conduct our meetings and when we interact with each other. So some of the things I want to remind all of us about tonight is to be good listeners when we have speakers, and sincerity, and be informed. To be informed tonight with all the information that we're going to receive. So let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, a vote, please.
Mr. Allen.
Aye.
Mrs. Harold.
Aye.
Mr. Irons.
Aye.
Mrs. Levere Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4.0, consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, a vote, please.
Mr. Allen.
Aye.
Mrs. Harold.
Aye.
Mr. Irons.
Aye.
Mrs. Levere Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Wright. I'm
Aye.
sorry, I marked you yes.
Now you good.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to strike items 7.01 and 7.04. 7.01 hasn't been reviewed completely by our attorney yet, which is consistent with what we've done in the past. And then 7.04, I'd like to hold that off as an action item until we get our new CEO on, so that he or she can have a voice in that process, which is what we did for the audit too. We held that off for the COO to make that decision.
Someone has to second that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. 7.01 I thought was ready to go, that it was ready from the legal standpoint, that it's been reviewed. Very similar like the other one had been. Is that not?
We got an email that said that it hadn't been thoroughly reviewed yet.
Yeah, I sent an email yesterday indicating that I haven't looked at it and just alert you because you had questions sometimes on that. I have looked it over. I've looked it over the exceptions in the packet. I had a couple of questions, but they're not necessarily legal in nature. Things like that came up in the past. So that's what I'm
So we will use that time. Is there another addition to it?
And Sean sent me the vote, if anyone needs the vote. I think I just forwarded it to Brad. But, because that was a question I had, was what was the vote? And Sean's here to answer a question of how it was determined, if that is a concern as well. But I can cite the vote from his email here. 3527 staff, 60 admin, and SAC was the number that he wasn't sure of the exact vote. He thought it was 9-0, but I think you were there, right? So all of which meet the statute requirement. so based on that, I mean, Brad's review at this point in time should be purely legal. And so from a pure legal standpoint, you don't have an issue if those are the votes, correct? Sorry.
So, to the extent I reviewed it, I get my it's
Yeah.
provisions where I don't know, overly clean things like that.
And it's been reviewed by the education side of the house, the finance and the operations side of the house, correct? And any concerns
Yes.
in those areas were addressed?
Very similar to some of the plans that have come forward.
Right. Mine is, but I don't know if it's picking me up great. We are getting a new mic system. It will be here for our next meeting, just so everyone knows. Okay, because these have not been so great and they keep cutting out on us and legally we need to record, but
So, Chris, do you have any more concerns on that one?
No, my understanding was that the 7.01 hadn't been reviewed completely. So, and that was just a few moments ago, so.
The motion's still on the floor, the vote is
do you want to withdraw and then restate?
So I'll withdraw that motion, and I'd like to 7.04 have that removed and tabled on the agenda in preparation for our new CEO, whoever she is or he is.
Well, my concern there was when we had originally talked about the CEO position back in August, we had talked about wanting the strategic plan done first so we could be clear about what direction we wanted the district to be in, because that had been an issue in the past with hiring superintendents and board between whether there was a clear vision and agreement and vision between the superintendent. Okay, and I realize the superintendent is not the same thing as the CEO, but we're still talking about the educational vision. If there was a clear agreement and vision from the CEO and the board, and many of the mismatches over the tenure, the reason we've gone in part through so many supers over the last 10 years, an obscene amount really, if you look at the numbers, was because we never had a clear plan to make sure that there was a coherence in that vision before the hire was made. And so my understanding when we began this process was our intent was to have a strategic plan in place so that our vision was clear and the district's vision was clear before we hired someone in, so that we could make sure that congruence existed and made to make sure that we really had the agreement we needed and the alignment we needed for it to be a successful hire. And that's my recollection of the discussion we had at the work session in August, where I believe 4 of us were present. When we then asked employees to start putting together a CEO job description, but we had talked about the need for a strategic plan to be in place to make that interview process more meaningful and to make sure we really hired the person who fit what our vision is for this district and what the plan was for the district, rather than ending up with a mismatch again. So that's my personal view on it, is that I think we should be reviewing the strategic plan and coming to some kind of an agreement of what it is first.
I don't say anything about it. I'm concerned with the fact that it's going to be 3 guys or three people running the district, and everyone should have a voice in that piece. There's someone on board, someone's already in place. I mean, he or she is going to be the chief education officer, so we should be able to, we should be able to board, allow them to come on board and be able to speak with the CEOs, the CEOs, so everybody's got to have a piece in there to make them a part of the team. That's all I'm saying. I mean, there were things we wanted to do, but we said let's wait till the CEO got on board, so the CEO can be a part of the team that they can make it get work. So, I mean, I understand what we as a board trying to do, but what's the issue of waiting until the CEO come on board to work with? I just think we have to be honest.
My concern is in the past, there hasn't been a clear strategic plan or clear vision for the district.
Exactly.
And because there wasn't, what the board wanted and what the super wanted was never quite in alignment, and so we ended up with multiple contract